Test 1 2. Test 1 2. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another Preston Sports podcast coming at you on this beautiful Monday. I believe it is the 21st of June, getting close to July, and it's getting super unnecessarily hot in Texas. I'm coming at you today with the who I think will be some of the better teams in the NFC, and I ended up having a lot more than I thought. I thought I was only going to have about 6 at most, but I ended up with about 8, I believe it is, which is about half the division, or the conference rather, I know. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought with certain players coming back from injury, certain upgrades, teams would do a lot better. Before I get started, don't forget, like, subscribe, punch the notification bell, do the thing. I'm starting to lose interest in that because I've had people tell me it hurts their ears. So maybe I'll stop doing it. Maybe I won't. We'll kind of do the couple teams that I thought about and then ended up putting them in last minute. I have the Vikings as one of them. The Vikings obviously didn't play super great last year. They ended up being third in the NFC North. It's kind of hard to be last place in the division with the the Lions rather. But when you look at it, the Vikings have a pretty good team. Kirk Cousins, one of the more underrated players in the league, and of course, he's nothing spectacular. You're not going to see him making the craziest plays you've ever seen in your life. You're not going to see him making any 50-yard sidearm between the leg throws. But what you're going to get from him is a good level of consistency, and you're going to get accuracy more often than not. And they did draft Kellen Mond in case it doesn't go well with him. But I think Kirk Cousins will definitely be the starter for this team for at least this next year. And I think he'll play really well. At the running back, they have Dalvin Cook. They kind of have the same problem the Titans have. And I should say they have Alexander Madison, so one of the better running back duos in the league. Dalvin Cook, obviously, top 5 running back. They have the same problem the Titans have, where they have Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, and they don't really have a solid number 3. They have Chad Beebe. So obviously not the best number 3 in the world. But unlike the Titans, they have Irv Smith Jr., who's a reliable young tight end. I think he's going to have a great year, kind of a breakout year. Their offensive line, they took Christian Darrisaw to kind of solidify that left tackle position. Grady Bradbury's been okay, but other than that, they don't really have too much in the offensive line. So that's hopefully somewhere you would like to improve. But it's not the worst offensive line in history. So offensively, they're pretty good. I think they'll have a really solid defense. I like the offense rather. I really like the Vikings this year. And then you go to their defense. This is what, with everything coming back from injury, this is what will be insane. So they brought in Dalvin Tomlinson, brought in Sheldon Richardson, they traded for they traded away someone. They signed Rashad Breeland. They got Patrick Peterson. They added Xavier Woods to their safety room. So you look at this, their entire starting defensive line, at least, Danielle Hunter, coming off injury, one of the best edge rushers in the league. They have Michael Pierce, Dalvin Tomlinson, and then they do have DJ Woonham at their other edge, so he's not spectacular, but he's okay. But then even you go down to their third D tackle being Sheldon Richardson, who's up there in age, but Sheldon Richardson's still a beast, you know? They have Nick Vigil at their will linebacker, weak side linebacker. But then you go to their middle linebacker and Sam linebacker. You have Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr, one of the better linebacker duos in the league. You have Cameron, Danzier? I almost said Dazier. Dantzler, Dantzler, and then you have Patrick Peterson across from him. Patrick Peterson has definitely regressed, but it's not like he's absolute garbage. And then even behind them, they have Rashad Breeland and Jeff Gladney. So they're at least 4 deep in okay corners, which is kind of where you want to be. And then your safeties, Harrison Smith, regressing as well, but still one of the better safeties in the league. He's absolutely incredible. And then Xavier Woods. So I think the Vikings will be good, depending on the other team that I kind of debated on putting in or not. We have the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears made the playoffs somehow last year. But if you look at the Bears, and it depends. If they want Andy Dalton starting the entire season, they probably won't do that good. But if they put Justin Fields in, who's looked great in practices, so with Andy Dalton starting, it's of course it would be Andy Dalton, then David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen, one of the better running back duos in the league. They have Allen Robinson, Darnell, Money with 2 O's, Mooney, and Anthony Miller, which is a really good wide receiver trio. They also have Damiere Byrd and Marquise Goodwin as backups, which I think is kind of underrated. Marquise Goodwin is a really good speed guy, so he can take a lot of those jet sweeps, those kind of trick plays. Cole Kmet, they have Jimmy Graham still, and then their offensive line, Tevin Jenkins, James Daniels, Cody Whitehair, Alex Bars, and Jermaine Fetty. Nothing great on the offensive line, but it's still okay. It's serviceable. But then you put Justin Fields in there, that makes that wide receiver trio a lot more deadly, or wide receiver penta, whatever you want to call it. And then David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen as well. And they also have Damian Williams down to number 3, so they're 3 deep at running back. They run the 3-4, so you're looking at your interior defensive line being Akeem Hicks, who's really, really good, Eddie Goldman, who's okay, and Bilal Nichols. But then you go to your edge rushers, Khalil Mack, man's a beast. Then you have Roquan Smith, one of the better inside linebackers in the league, and Danny Trevathan, who's serviceable. Robert Quinn, who you would have liked to see a lot more out of, really didn't play up anywhere near to where his potential is. After you get past the front 7, you go to the secondary, and that's where you're kind of getting questions. Jalen Johnson, who's okay. Desmond Trufant, who just really, you don't want to be the best corner on your team, which he is. Tashawn Gimpson, senior. He's okay at strong safety. And then Eddie Jackson, free safety, is just an absolute animal. But the defense, I love the way their defense is played. I think as long as coaching is good, you can hide the fact that your corners aren't the best in the world. You do have Artie Burns and Duke Shelley. Expect them to try to trade for Stephon Gilmore, because that would make this team a lot deadlier. But I really like this team. I like what they offer. I like their potential. I think we could see them playing okay. But even then, their playoff success will be determined by, I'm just going to skip to one of the better teams on this list, the Green Bay Packers. No one knows if Aaron Rodgers is going to be there. I don't even know if Aaron Rodgers knows if he's going to be there. I personally don't think he will. I don't think he should be there. I think they've screwed him over a lot. But if Aaron Rodgers isn't on this team is not nearly as good. With Aaron Rodgers on this team is a playoff contender, a Super Bowl contender. If Aaron Rodgers is on that team, I would be surprised to see them make a wild card spot. Jordan Love has looked okay in practice, but, and you have a great running back in Aaron Jones. You have one of the best receivers in the league with Devontae Adams, but the drop-off is insane. You go from Devontae Adams down to Allen Lazard and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and then you also have Amari Rodgers, Equanimeous St. Brown, and Devin Funches. So you're pretty much 6 deep at wide receiver. Those aren't guys you want starting, but those are really good 4th, 5th, and 6th guys. Your tight ends, Robert Tonyan had a really good year last year. You still have Mercedes Lewis, so that's cool. David Bakhtiari, one of the best tackles in the league. Elton Jenkins, one of the most versatile offensive linemen. And then as you go from left to right, the offensive line does get a little bit worse with Josh Myers, Lucas Patrick, and Billy Turner. I still think that this offensive line is good. I think Aaron Rodgers hides a lot of the issues with this offense. I don't think if you put Jordan Love in, this team is nearly as successful. You go over to their defense. They also run the 3-4. You have a pretty good nose tackle with Kenny Clark, one of the few nose tackles in the league that generates sufficient pressure. You also have Dean Lowry and Kingsley Kiki. Again, Kenny Clark's kind of the standout on that interior. Other than that, Dean Lowry's okay. Never really heard of Kingsley Kiki, however you say it. You go to their interior linebackers, nothing spectacular. Kamal Martin, Chris Barnes. They cut Christian Kirksey, cut my boy Kirko after last year. He didn't really play super great. You go to their edge rushers, Zadarius Smith, who's pretty good. Preston Smith, who's pretty good. Zadarius is obviously better than Preston. Hey, Preston Smith, that's my boy. You go to their secondary, Darnell Savage, Adrian Amos. They're serviceable. They're nothing spectacular. I would say Darnell Savage, Actually, I don't know enough about their safeties to say anything about them, but I know they're okay, not great. Jair Alexander, obviously one of the best corners in the league, went an entire month without allowing a completion, which is insane. And then the man, the myth, the legend, probably the best corner in the league. They have Kevin King. Just absolutely insane. He's allowed 0 yards to Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, and pretty much any of, like, Calvin Johnson, he's allowed 0 yards to. This man's a beast, let me tell you. Chandon Sullivan, you have Eric Stokes, their first-round draft pick. Packers entirely dependent on Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers is there, good team. If he's not the best team in the world. I'll make my way to the NFC West, talking about the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously made a massive move in the offseason. Traded Jared Goff and picks for Matthew Stafford. I think he's around 32, 33 years old, so he's kind of getting up there, but, probably one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I think he's overrated. I think he was really underrated, and then everyone started talking about him like he was the best quarterback in the league, and I have no problem with him being a great quarterback. I just need to see it. I need to see him throw for 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. I need to see it before I say he can definitely do that. And this year, if he has a year to do it, it's this year. The running back room is good with Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson Jr. They have great wide receivers. You're looking at Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Deshaun Jackson, Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell. Really good 5-deep wide receiver sets. You have Tyler Higbee, one of the better young tight ends in the league, and you have a really good offensive line. Andrew Whitworth, David Edwards, Brian Allen, Austin Corbett, former Brown shutout, and then Rob Havenstein. I like this offensive line. I think it has the ability to pass protect well. I think it will give Matthew Stafford a good time to find Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp and D-Jax. You go to their defense might not be as good as it was last year, and I'll go through it and then I'll explain why. You go to they also run the 3-4, starting with a lot of 3-4s. You go to their interior, Sebastian Joseph Day, A'Shawn Robinson. They're okay, nothing great. And then you go to Aaron Donald. In my opinion, the best interior defensive lineman. He is the definition of dominance. Like, when I say he manhandles people, like, it's insane watching him play. And he's so fast with his feet. His footwork is amazing. I love watching. He's just dominant. Their linebackers is probably where they're the weakest. Excuse me. Edge rushers consist of Justin Hollins and Leonard Floyd. Obviously not where you want it to be. And then your interior is looking like Kenny Young and Micah Kaiser. So, not the best in the world, but, can't complain too much about it. Then you go to corners. You have Jalen Ramsey, one of the best corners, if not the best in my opinion. That's just me. And then Darius Williams. You lost Troy Hill in free agency, which I think you'll see a drop in Jalen Ramsey a little bit. The thing that was great about the Rams last year is Jalen Ramsey could follow DeAndre Hopkins anywhere he went. Whether you line up D-Hop in the X position, you line him up in the slot, you line him up anywhere, Jalen Ramsey could follow, because Troy Hill, the corner who's now on the Browns actually, brings you that slot outside versatility. So now Jalen Ramsey, you can have him follow, but you're risking putting a boundary corner out who's not nearly as good or can barely hold his own in the boundary, which is kind of dangerous. You have Taylor Rapp, Jordan Fuller at safety. I have no idea why the Rams let John Johnson walk. I mean, I know they don't have cap space, but at the same time, John Johnson is just kind of the guy that you should want to bring back. Really good. Also went to the Browns. The Browns just took the Rams secondary. He's like, I will have it. But Taylor Rapp, okay. Jordan Fuller, we'll see. I think they made a mistake letting both of those guys go. They should have tried to retain one. Excuse me. But the Rams, I think their offense will be really good. I think their defense, we'll see. I'm excited to see how they do. I think they should do, hopefully, at least okay. It would suck to see them do bad. Another team I'm putting on there, I'm putting Washington football team. Sorry, Corbin. Washington football team is winning the division. I don't care what anyone says. You're either going to get Fitzpatrick. Okay, now I should say, if Ryan Fitzpatrick is Ryan Fitzmagic, they'll win. If he is Ryan Fitzception, maybe not, but I don't see why he would be Fitzception. And if he is bad, throw the stud, best quarterback in the league, Taylor Heineke. He's a beast. You have Ryan Fitzpatrick, made that incredible throw against the Raiders last year. Obviously, a huge journeyman. Hopefully he balls out this year. Excuse me, running back, you have Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick, a really good running back duo. Again, they kind of have the same thing as the Titans and the other team, which is the Vikings. Excuse me. You have Terry McLaurin, insane. Curtis Samuel, versatile weapon, and then you go to Adam Humphries. A huge drop-off. But then you also have Diami Brown, who I believe is a rookie. Cam Sims and Steven Sims Jr., I think they are pretty good for their roles, being 6th and 5th receivers. Logan Thomas, former quarterback turned tight end. I think he should be serviceable. You also have John Bates and Ricky Seals-Jones, former Browns shout-out. Offensive line is okay. You're looking at Brandon Scherf and Chase Roulier being the standouts. Not Cornelius. It's Camillus, Wes Schweitzer, and Charles Leno, who are okay. Nothing crazy. They have Eric Flowers still, which is hilarious. But you look, the defense is where this team will make massive money. Defensive line, the best defensive front in football. I don't care. I love the Browns. I love Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney. This is the best defensive front in football. You're looking at Chase Young, one of the best edge rushers. Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne, two of the best interior defensive linemen. And Montez Sweat, insanely fast. I like him a lot. It's obviously the best defensive front. Going back a little bit more in that front seven, you're looking at Jamin Davis, reach of a pick, but maybe okay. John Bostic and Cole Holcomb. Excuse me again, goodness gracious. I always yawn when I'm recording. I don't understand why. But Jamin Davis, the linebacker group is really the weakness of this defense. I think you would like to see a bit. You would like to see them do a good amount, especially Jamin Davis. Shouldn't have been picked at 19, but guess what? You're picked at 19, so show up or shut up. You know what I'm saying? Kendall Fuller, a great corner with insane versatility, can play free safety as well. William Jackson, they signed from the Bengals, probably overpaid him, but that's whatever. And then you have Landon Collins, who's not as good as he was in New York, but Cameron Crowe, one of the better rookie corners in the league. This is going to be a top 5 defense. Don't care what anyone says. It's just true. This team will probably win the division, depending on Ryan Fitzpatrick. We go to another team I kind of debated on putting in here or not, but I did, because I believe in famous Jameis Winston. That's right. We're talking about the New Orleans Saints right now. I think the Saints still have one of the best rosters in football. So Jameis Winston, obviously, he got LASIK so he can see finally. If Sean Payton coached him up, if Drew Brees coached him up, if they made him anything better than he was. Because let's not forget, he was still good in Tampa. He just threw a lot of interceptions and fumbled a lot, kind of like Daniel Jones. So if we have faith for Daniel Jones, we have faith for Jameis Winston. And I have faith for Jameis Winston and Daniel Jones, actually. Obviously, Taysom Hill provides a second quarterback just in case. And Ian Book, I think, probably will be okay. But you look at... They have Ty Montgomery? I didn't know that. But running backs, you have Alvin Kamara, one of the most versatile running backs in football, and Latavius Murray, their real power guy. A wide receiver, they don't have much in terms of wide receiver. They have Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, Marquez Callaway. Deontay Harris is more of a return man, Juwan Johnson. Not a lot at wide receiver, but Michael Thomas coming off of injury. I think we'll see a lot more from Michael Thomas this year. Maybe not in production. His 2019 season will be tough to beat, but you'll see a lot more. You won't hear as many people say, "Oh, he only runs slants." I think Drew Brees had a deteriorating arm, so he threw a lot of slants because those are easy routes to throw with a deteriorating arm. With Jameis Winston kind of gotten the cannon on him, I think we'll see a lot more from Michael Thomas. Adam Troutman, not the best tight end. Hopefully they can find somewhere to get someone else. Offensive line, absolutely insane. Teron Armstead, Ryan Ramczyk, probably one of the best tackle duos in the league. Andreas Pete is okay at left guard. Eric McCoy's a good center. Cesar Ruiz, really good. And then the best offensive lineman in the league, Will Clapp, because he will clap. Sorry, it's just my favorite player ever. They run the 4-3 rather, excuse me. They have Cameron Jordan, Marcus Davenport at their other edge rusher position. Obviously lost Trey Hendrickson in free agency. I don't think he'll be that good. And where did he go? Cincy? But that's whatever. That's just my opinion. David Onyemata and Malcolm Roach. Great name. Obviously lacking a bit on the interior, but Cameron Jordan's been reliable. Marcus Davenport should be okay. They have Demario Davis, one of the better linebackers in the league, and then you have Chase Hansen and Pete Warner. Nothing much behind them, really. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, also known as C.J. Deuce, also known as C.J. Johnson. No one knows what his name is right now. And Marshawn Lattimore. Now, I think Marshawn Lattimore is overrated. You look at Marshawn Lattimore, he's been getting worse since his really good rookie year. Hopefully he's able to improve, but that's just something I've noticed. Malcolm Jenkins, really getting up there. And then Marcus Williams, one of the best free safeties currently playing on the franchise tag. I just like this team, especially if Jameis Winston can play good. Sorry, I'm going kind of fast. I don't want to make this too long, but I'll go San Francisco. San Francisco is a team I think should be really good. I think Josh Rosen, goodness gracious. I think that Jimmy G will start, and I think Trey Lance will take over by halfway through the season. I think Trey Lance, hopefully, is really good. I would love to see Trey Lance be really good. That's just me. Really athletic, kind of like a Josh Allen type, sort of. Running backs, Raheem Mostert, one of the fastest running backs in the league. It doesn't really matter who they have at running back. In the 49ers scheme, the running back will be successful. Raheem Mostert, not a lot of talent. Sorry, Corbin, your Purdue boy. Not much out of him. There's a reason he wasn't really successful until he went to San Fran. We go to wide receivers. You got Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and after that, Richie James, Jalen Hurd. Not much after him. Then you have one of the best tight ends in the league in George Kittle. And one of the best fullbacks in the league too when you look at Kyle Juicy Juszczyk. It's had a 5-year deal recently, I believe. Excuse me, I'm just making sure I'm not crazy when I said that he wasn't really good till San Francisco. Yeah, I'm right. Wasn't good till San Francisco. He didn't get his first rush until 2016. Went for 6 yards. He does average well, which I think has a lot to do with his speed, but good for him that he at least averages well. Sorry, got distracted. San Francisco, Brandon Ayuk. So George Kittle, Juicy Juszczyk, signed a 5-year deal. Good for him. George Kittle, coming off of injury. Huge part of that defense. You go to their offensive line. They got Alex Mack in free agency. Last year they traded for Trent Williams. They got Mike McGlinchey, Lakeland Tomlinson, and Daniel Brunski. That's Brunski, right? Brunskill. Sorry. Brunskill. I'm going to call him Brunski still. Daniel Brunski. Like the offensive line, Trent Williams is a beast, the highest paid tackle in football by like $100,000, which is hilarious. Yeah, I like the offense. Hopefully Trey Lance takes over pretty soon because I would like to see him play really well. George Kittle kind of takes up that third receiver position, and he's also like the best blocking tight end in the league. He's a freaking animal. I love it. Their defense, not as good as it was, and I'll explain why. The defensive line still good. You have Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, DJ Jones, Nick Bosa. Expect Eric Armstead to go inside and D Ford to come out more. Hopefully, at least. I don't really think that Eric Armstead on the edge is the way to go. I think he's versatile enough to play edge, but I think to kind of maximize your talent level, you want to get D Ford in there. But Dre Greenlaw, one of the best young linebackers in the league, And we're talking about maybe the best young linebacker in the league in Fred Warner. So good. He's going to get a massive contract I don't think he has, but if he hasn't, he will. Samson Ebukam, really versatile player. And then this is why the team is not that good. We're looking at Emmanuel Mosley and Jason Verrett. Now, Jason Verrett is really good when he's healthy. The problem is, Jason Verrett is never healthy. You're looking at Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward. Not the best secondary. I think this team will probably get torched through the air a lot, but I think they will rack up some sacks and pressure whenever the defensive backs can hold. I think you're going to see a lot of 4-man rushes because they can't afford to blitz linebackers. But that's just me. So I think 49ers should be good. And then we go to the big boys of the NFC. Everyone knew this was coming. My friend and your friend, Mr. Thomas Brady and the Tampa Bay The Tampa Bay Gronkaneers. I mean, I would read off this team to you, but I don't need to because it's the exact same team except kind of better. Obviously, the GOAT, Tom Brady at quarterback. I don't know why there's a Q next to his name. I know he had a knee issue, but he's fine. He's going to play. The real quarterback of the team, Blaine the Train Gabbert, Kyle Trask, they drafted. They have Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, added Giovanni Bernard, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller. Great 4 receivers. Gronk, they're getting O.J. Howard back, and they still have Cameron Brate. Their offensive line is made up of Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet, Ryan Jensen, Alex Kappa, and Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs was a stud. We have Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, William Golston, great interior. And then you go to JPP, Devin White, Levante David, Shaq Barrett. JPP and Devin White, or JPP and Shaq Barrett are insane. And then they also drafted Tryon to replace JPP whenever that time comes. Devin White and Levante David are the best interior linebacker tandem in football. Devin White is a speedy boy. Levante David is a starred vet? Respected vet? I don't know. Their secondary. Now, the secondary is where they lack a little bit. They have Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Jamal Dean, Ross Cockrell. And then they have... Is Antoine Winfield playing strong? I thought Antoine Winfield was playing free safety. Maybe I'm mistaken. But Antoine Winfield Jr. playing strong safety and Jordan Whitehead playing free safety. They brought all their starters back, and they added talent. I am really excited for this team. I think this team will be really good. My personal predictions is a Browns-Bucks Super Bowl, and I think the Browns will win, but that's because I'm biased. But I do think the Bucks have a really high chance of making the Super Bowl. You know? I just think that this team really started clicking after Tom Brady learned the offense, and I think we made the mistake of giving Tom Brady an entire offseason to learn the offense. I'm really excited for the Bucks. I think the NFC will be better than last year. I think the NFC was really disappointing last year. Obviously, we had a losing team make the playoffs. We had the Bears make the playoffs. I'm really excited for the NFC. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, make sure to like, subscribe, tap the notification bell. I will be back on Wednesday talking about something. Maybe. We'll see if anything happens. I'll make something up if I have to. Have a nice rest of your day. Drink water. It's hot outside. Don't be stupid. Make good choices. Talk to you on Wednesday.